Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Onslaught Wave Mockingbird figure. This figure has some new parts on it, so that's always a good thing. The paintwork on it is there, so that's a thing. And it has a couple of accessories, so that's also a thing. I have to say this one is not as bad as Captain America, but it does leave quite a bit to be desired. It doesn't quite mesh up with the first bunch of figures. Cottonmouth, Taskmaster, Scourge, Whirlwind, they were all pretty impressive. Now this one's not bad, but I feel like they just didn't quite put that final bit of effort into it that they really should have. So let's take a look at the figure up close and we'll see what we see. Alright, so this figure, like I said, does have some newly sculpted parts, so that's really good. It's not going to just disappear into the sea of reused parts that we've been getting lately, so that's a pretty nice thing. And for the most part, the paintwork isn't too bad. You can see on the torso here, it's pretty well lined up. They painted the buttons on there. They're not great, but they're not bad. The chest is well painted. The skin tone for the chest and the head looks really good. That's always a big deal for me. If you can't get the skin tone right, the whole figure looks weird. We have the new sculpt work on the arms, obviously, and with the chest. Paintwork on the arms is not bad. You have the silver on the forearm. You have black gloves, and then black going up to here, which just is barely even noticeable. It's just, there's no sculpt work, and then there's just a line separating the black from the blue on the bicep area. So that's not great. It's also not great that we get white coming through down here, but I guess I can excuse that. The paintwork on the legs is pretty disappointing. I don't know why they can't paint straight lines sometimes. It's really not great. The sculpt work on the legs is pretty cool. We have those nice new boots. Looks pretty good. And then we have a new head, which is usually a good thing, but for this figure, as you can see, the eyes are super far apart and look pretty weird. They're going in the wrong direction. The cool thing is, though, that there is an actual face under those goggles, and you can take those off if you want to. I'm not sure if you're supposed to be able to do that, but you can. Which actually makes the face look better. You can see the gaps for the goggles in there, but the googly eyes aren't quite as noticeable, so it's not inherently bad, and a little bit of paintwork would have made this thing so much better if they just cleaned it up a little bit. The hair is really stiff, so don't expect it to get much posability out of the neck, but it's not too bad. I mean, it's one of those figures where it's okay. She has the gripping hands for her accessories, and she can actually hold them, so that's pretty good. The unfortunate thing is her accessory is the same staff as we got from that Daredevil. And while it's not quite as soft and squishy, it's still really soft and squishy. And it's super warped in the packaging, so you're going to have to heat that up to fix it. But it's okay, I guess, and at least she came with an accessory. Alright, so let's go over the height and the articulation. She stands roughly 6 inches, so pretty well scaled with the other figures, which makes her about 15.5 centimeters. Her head articulation, like I said, not going to get much out of it due to the hair, but she does have the hinge in there, so you can technically move it. Just, you're going to have to be pretty careful with how you do that, but it can move. It's not terrible. And of course, it can rotate around. Shoulders, pretty well done. These shoulders, I'm not sure if they're new. They feel like they're new pieces to me. They seem to be a little bit bigger and a slightly different sculpt than the old Shield Agent shoulders. I don't think we saw those on any of the other figures. I could be wrong. Obviously, it's a blank shoulder. There's no sculpt work on it, so it's not a super big deal. It's just interesting to me that they might be new. I'm not sure, but we get the full range of motion, so that's all right. Our bicep swivel comes down here in the elbow like we've been seeing lately. We get just about 90 degrees in the elbow, so it's good enough. It's not great. The wrist has a swivel and a hinge, so that's fine. The diaphragm joint on this figure, it works really well. I'm very pleased with that. She goes really far back, really far forward, all the way around to the side. You get your twist out of it. So I'm very pleased with that. And somebody asked in one of my other videos, why don't they ever get a waist twist for the female figures? The reason is their hips are wider from side to side and not wide front to back. So it's not very round. So if you have a swivel in there, you're going to get this really weird cut and it's not going to look good at all. So doing the diaphragm joint up here where it's more cylindrical rather than ovular, you get a much better looking joint. So that's why they do that, and I think it worked out really well here. For the hips, they go pretty far forward, a little bit out to the side, but not too bad. Doing the splits is not too bad either, so that's pretty good. We have our thigh swivel in there, our double jointed knee, so that's pretty good. Nice range of motion. And then we have our ankle, which goes forward, that's nice. It goes all the way back. That's nice. And we have the built-in ankle rocker. That's nice. So generally it's pretty good, but here's the thing about her feet, other than being too big and they look kind of weird. They are not seated properly. As you can see on this foot right here, when you put the foot square to the leg, it cocks the foot out to the side. The wrong way. You want it to turn in, if anything, so that she can stand with her legs just a little bit apart. But this way, it makes her not able to stand at all, because it puts her feet like that. They come to a point at the bottom, and that's no good. So you have to rotate them around, and then it cocks the heel off to the side, and the feet aren't pointing forward anymore. So I don't know why things like that happen. They should fix those kind of things in the design process. It's not a huge deal, but it is a deal. So do I recommend her? Despite the problems, I think I kind of do. She's got enough of an appeal to her, and there's enough good stuff going on with this figure that, come on, get in there. There's enough good stuff going on that I think I do recommend it. It looks pretty good for the most part, and most of it works pretty well. So I guess that's my final verdict. I do recommend it. These are in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, by the way, so check that link in the description below and get yourself some. It's an overall pretty good wave of figures. Make sure you stick around here for the photos at the end, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.